Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a very easy, very low effort and very cheap Salisbury steak, and it's going to be delicious, I promise. So what we have here is about half a kilo or 1 pound, give or take, of ground beef. I love ground beef because ground beef is really versatile. I buy this in bulk, and I can store this in the freezer. It can easily become hamburgers or tacos or spaghetti or meatloaf or Salisbury steak, which I'm about to show you. So let's get right into this. So what you're going to need is, you can start off with however many you need to feed your family, 1 pound or 2 pounds. And then I'm going to what I did is I chopped up some onions and some garlic. Now you got to be careful with these. So when you cut up your onions and garlic, you want to make sure your bits are really small. Otherwise, if they're too big, your patties are going to fall apart. Let's go ahead and spoon this in there. And if you don't have onions or garlic, or you don't have to put it, you can just use salt and pepper. You can just use salt. This will work either way. Or you can use onion powder and onion and garlic pepper, or garlic flakes or garlic powder. It doesn't have to be. It's whatever you put in here. Whatever. What's important is not exactly what you put in here, but the technique and what I'm going to show you on how to make this really quick. The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put some salt. And you don't need very much salt because your gravy is going to be salty. So I'm just going to put about a little more than I'll say about a teaspoon of salt in here, and we'll put some pepper. Remember, use whatever you guys have available. It doesn't take very much to make this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these Scarborough Fair spices, which is parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. This is going to give you we'll start off with the parsley. We're going to add just about half a teaspoon of parsley. This is my calibrated pinching fingers. That's a little bit more than half a teaspoon, but that's okay. And then we're going to add some sage. About a half a teaspoon of sage. And we'll take some rosemary, and we'll do a half a teaspoon of that. Really simple. Remember, use whatever seasonings you have. And if you don't have any seasonings, you just have salt, or you have salt packets from yesterday's takeout, you can use that. This is thyme. We just used rosemary, and then this is thyme. I'm sorry, I'm too excited because I want to show you guys this recipe. It works really good. Now, if you wanted to, this can easily become a meatloaf, and all we're going to do is we're going to add a beaten egg, which I just beaten for a few seconds. I separated the egg whites and stirred it up, so now it's got a pretty consistent texture. It doesn't have those globs of egg white in there, and it's basically ready. If you wanted to turn this into a meatloaf, you can add some breadcrumbs and a couple tablespoons of milk, and then mix it up and then form it into a loaf. Throw it into the oven for about, don't forget to cover with ketchup, right? Throw it into the oven at 375 degrees for about an hour. While we move, I totally forgot to do this. So before you go any further, I'm going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. 400 degrees Fahrenheit, guys, which is about 205 degrees Celsius. I don't know if anybody cares, but while that's preheating, let it preheat for about 10 minutes. Now, this is fine how it is. I'm going to combine this. You can do this with your hands, but I'm going to use forks. I'm sorry about the noise, but this is going to help you. You don't want the heat from your hands to warm up the fat in this thing, because it'll give you a tough burger. So I'm just going to combine and make sure all my seasoning is moved throughout. Again, I apologize about the screeching noises. And you just want to get these combined, work these in here for about a minute or so, and you can eyeball it, make sure everything kind of looks even. This looks pretty good, and what we're going to do, we're going to make 4 meatballs, big meatballs. We're just going to eyeball, make sure that they're even. So what I'm doing is just forming meatballs, and if your meatballs are not exactly the same size, you can rob meat from one other one to add it to the smaller meatball. Alright. So now we have our meatballs that we are going to cook in a frying pan, smash burger style. Let me go wash my hands and we'll get this started. Right now we're going to get ready to cook these. You want to have your fire at really high heat. This is going to cook very, very fast, and don't worry about cooking them all the way through, because once we get them to what we think is enough, we're going to put these patties into this pan, and we're going to throw it in the oven and let these cook some more while we make some gravy. So let's start now. I have my pan somewhat hot now, but I think this is enough. We're going to, but you really want kind of as hot as you can get it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our meatballs, and then we're going to smash them down. And then if you see it falling apart on you, you can push them together and then let that cook. I'll take 2, so I think I could do 2 at a time here. So I'll do this one as well. Ugh. I know that this is not the traditional way to make Salisbury steak, but this will give you a very similar result that is quick and easy to make with very little effort. And so it should take about a few minutes on each side, and then I'll transfer them and I'll cook the other 2. Right now, I've cooked these burgers, and they're basically about 75% done. And we're not going to worry about cooking them all the way through, because we're going to throw them in the oven. And so I'm going to go ahead, uncovered. I'm going to throw these in the oven real quick. While these are in the oven, cooking at 400 degrees, we're going to make our gravy. What we're going to do is we're going to use this pan as we are now. I turned my heat all the way off for now to let this cool off. And we're going to start out with There's some bits and pieces of hamburger in there. That's going to become part of our gravy. And what we want to do is we're going to take some butter. I have about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter right here, and we're going to let that melt. Get it around there. I've turned my fire off, but eventually it's going to be at a low heat. And I'm just gonna melt this butter and get it in there. So now it just looks like leftover. Now, if you have a really fatty ground beef, you probably have some oil already in here, and you may not want to add butter. You can just use the oil that's already that's already left over from your cooking your hamburgers. My ground beef is pretty lean, so there wasn't more, so I added some butter. Is what's happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my fire back up to low heat, really low heat, and then I'm going to add. This is beef stock. This is dehydrated beef stock. You do not have to do this step. You can just use what you have in here. But I am going to just sprinkle it in here and swirl it around. But if you don't have any beef stock, that is okay, because you can just take this, go from that original step, which is the oil in the pan, and we're going to add 2 heaping spoonfuls of flour to this mixture. And what we're going to do is we're going to deglaze this pan and get all that gunk off the bottom, because this is all going to become beautiful, beautiful gravy, guys. So now that it should look something like this. It looks like a bunch of crap right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 of the coldest cups of water you can get. And then we're going to cook this low and slow. This is going to probably take I would say about 10 minutes to do at a low heat. Or if you want to, you can speed up the process. You can turn it to medium heat, and then once it starts to thicken up, you can turn it down to a really low heat. So let's try that now so we can speed up the process. And then it looks like dirty mop water, but I promise, once that water cooks off, it's going to turn into brown gravy. I've been cooking this at a low heat, stirring constantly for about 10 minutes now. And as you can see, it's already thickened up. It's starting to look like gravy. Make sure that you season this with salt and pepper. I'm going to add some salt to this thing. And a little pepper in here. You can taste it to make sure it's to your liking. And once it's salted to your liking, you can go ahead and shut this off. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our patties that were sitting in the oven cooking, and we are going to pour this gravy right over it. If you wanted to, you can strain your gravy to get all this gunk out, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to add to my flavor here. Now, if you want, you can probably just eat it just as is. Everything is cooked and ready to go, but I'm going to throw this back in the oven for about 10 minutes to give me that TV dinner feel. I'll put this in the oven for about 10 minutes now. I'm going to go and take it out because it should be done. If not, if you want to let it cook here a little bit more, I just want to give you that Salisbury steak look. Looks pretty good. Now, if you don't have an oven, and you can just make your burgers or your patties, and then make your gravy and pour it right on there. But let's plate this thing and see what it looks like. I've just plated this up with some rice and some carrots, but you can do whatever you want with this. You can slap this in between 2 pieces of bread and have yourself a Salisbury steak sandwich, or you can make some rice. Rice is really easy. You can buy instant rice, but let's cut into this because you don't even need a knife, guys. It's fork tender. It looks pretty good. It's already falling apart on me, but the meat looks really good. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I can't even get in here because it's falling apart on me. But like, now, as I said before, I know this is not the traditional way to make Salisbury steak, but it's delicious. It'll give you that nostalgic feeling, and it tastes delicious. I made this in less than 30 minutes. It's really cheap to do. You can use whatever seasonings you want. Salt and pepper, if that's all you have. I'm not a professional chef or a professional cook, but the point of all this is that you don't need to be able to make delicious food for yourself. Cooking is one of the most basic life skills that everybody should have. There's no reason why you cannot do this. So I promise you this thing is delicious. Let's do a money shot. So to show you. That's good. So there it is. This is my spicy take on some really low effort, very quick, very easy Salisbury steak. I hope you guys like it.